Hi, everyone. Welcome to your Week 28 Modern World launch. And we are getting into the essay writing portion of this project. So you should have done checkpoints 1 through 3 at this point, learned the background information about imperialism, what that is. Again, just from looking at the picture on the screen right now, you can tell that imperialism is when a larger, more established country gets very greedy and then uses force or money to go in and take over smaller islands in other countries. So what you're going to be doing this week, again, you're going to keep in the back of your mind the overall question that we're going to be answering is, should imperial powers pay reparation to imperialized countries? So should those bigger countries that took over the smaller countries, should they be forced to give them some money as basically a peace offering and an apology for what they did so many years ago? Checkpoint 4 is the imperialism essay preparation, and ignore the part about time to write. That would be if it's done in a classroom. You guys have time to do this. So what you're going to be doing is answering the question, should imperial powers pay reparation to imperialized countries? Step 1 is to write your claim in that box. So you're going to be writing your claim, and your claim, again, is just your answer to that compelling questions. And it would be like, yes, imperial powers should be forced to repay imperialized countries because, and then your subpoints are going to be what are your because. So because this and this, those are your subpoints. Your subpoints are your reasons why you have that claim. So a proper way to write an essay would be to devote one paragraph to each subpoint. So I think that imperialized countries should repay the smaller countries because, my first point might be because they it affected them from being able to be a strong economic power. And then another, and because of this. So whatever my reasons are, whatever I read in those documents, I want to make sure I have at least 2 reasons why I have this claim. And then what you're going to do for step 3 is gathering your evidence. So the evidence that you have from any of those documents that were given to you in checkpoints 1 through 3, you want to make sure that that's where you're getting your evidence. So you want to put in your evidence, again, needs to be in a quote form. If it was in the form of a political cartoon or a picture, obviously you can't quote that, but you could say something like, according to the political cartoon done by Thomas Nast in 1855, and then kind of explain what he's trying to say in that political cartoon. And then make sure you document what the source is. And again, don't put document A. The source needs to be specific. What is that? So is it, was it a political cartoon done by who? Was it a journal entry done by who on what date? Was it a newspaper entry? So as much information about the source that you can give as possible, but don't just put document A. And again, what you're being scored on for the final product. So once you do this essay, you'll get some feedback this week, ways that you can make some changes, and then you can go ahead and submit the final product, which is the essay. You're going to be scored on these 4 cognitive skills for this project. So synthesizing multiple sources. This means that you cannot just rely on one source and get a good grade. You want to make sure that you're bringing in evidence from at least 2 sources, and then kind of comparing and contrasting the common ideas that you see amongst those sources. You're being scored on argumentative claim, which again is your response to that compelling question. Your explanation of evidence, so not just putting the quote, but explaining in your own words how that supports your claim. And then integration of evidence, just making sure that you're properly introducing your quotes according to a newspaper article in blah, 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 and then put your quote and then explain it. So not just starting out a paragraph with a quote and saying nothing about it. So it's making sure you're introducing the quote at the proper times within your writing. Your reflection for this week, I'd like you to, in Google Classroom, answer, what is your claim in response to the question, should imperial powers pay reparations to imperialized countries? So again, it's your response to that question. Do you think imperial powers should be forced to repay those imperialized countries? Why or why not? So whatever your answer is to that question, and then this is going to help you have your claim already done for your essay. So also just a reminder that this week marks the end of the 3rd marking period. So we are down to 9 weeks left in the school year. Some of you are on pace and you should not be worried. And there are others who should be extremely worried at this point. There is still time to make sure you do well, but the longer you put this off, the more unlikely that you're going to pass this course. So make sure that you are working every day in these courses and trying to make a genuine effort to finish. And if you have questions on previous projects, you can reach out, refer back to old checkpoints, but just make sure you start somewhere.